So today what we're going to do is change the carb on an x22. You only need really two tools to do that. Just these two, a Phillips screwdriver and a 10 mil wrench. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to remove your choke cable. So you're just going to take a Phillips screwdriver, remove this screw. You don't have to remove it all the way. Just loosen it so you can pop it out. Then rotate your choke door. And then just pop the end out of your cable. Just push it out of the way for now. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take the top off our carb. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. I don't have to actually change the plunger in this, but I'm gonna show you how to do it. You literally pull the spring back all the way, pull the cable up through the top of the plunger, right here. And we're just gonna let the spring come out and we'll remove the top. And that's how you do that. And we're just gonna set that aside. And we're gonna finish going with the carburetor. So what we wanna do then is remove our air hose. Okay, so it's off the back of the carb. Then we're gonna remove our gas line. On this bike, it has two fuel pepcocks. It has one on the carb and one actually on the tank. If you don't have a pepcock on your tank, some bikes don't, like the X21 RS does not have a pepcock at the tank, it only has it on the carburetor. All you have to do is take a pair of vice grips and pinch the line until you're done. That's it. So this one has the gas already shut off, so we're gonna pop off our gas line. Then we're gonna pop off our return line. This returns to the tank. So we're gonna let that hang down, and then we're gonna take out our 10 mil bolts. You don't have to go to the other side to do this. You can do it from just the one side, but if you don't feel comfortable, definitely go to the other side and you can reach behind your fairing and take it off. So we get our two bolts. You'll notice I keep everything together. That way it doesn't get lost or kicked across the garage if you get up to get something. This gasket is very important. Make sure you don't lose it. It is very, very, very important. So keep it, put it off to the side. Then we're gonna pull our carburetor out. So here's the carburetor. This one I'm just gonna be putting back in. This is, I took it out for the video to show you guys real quick. So to put it back in, it's basically the same thing as what we did to take it out. So again, you take the carburetor, you put it back into place. It's a lot easier if you slip it on the air box first, but you don't need to. There is a flex pipe here. You should be able to maneuver it around, but I like to just get it into place first. Then you're gonna take, again, your black gasket. You're gonna always make sure to place the rubber O-ring to the manifold. And the reason you do that is there's already a rubber O-ring on the carburetor. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna slip that in. We're gonna put our bolts in. When you put your bolts in, just finger tight. That way, if you have to adjust the other side so that everything comes together right, you don't have to loosen anything off to do it. So again, we got that in. There we go. Okay, so they're both in. So we'll tighten those up. Okay, now it's tight. The other side. Okay, that's tight. Again, you don't have to tighten these too much. If you over torque them, you're just gonna split the white metal here, and you don't want to do that. So we've got that in place. So now we're gonna take our choke cable. Same thing we're gonna do before. We rotate it up. And then we're gonna put our cable in. Get it into place, perfect. And then we're gonna put our cable holder back into place. With our Phillips screwdriver. Okay, so now we're going to put our fuel line on. When you're putting your fuel line on, you're going to notice that the fuel line has a filter coming from the tank all the way to this pepcock, so that's the way you know that this is the actually gas line, it's not the return line. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just stick that on there. And you got your return line to the tank. You're going to go ahead and put that back on. Okay, then we're going to tighten up our hose clamp for our air breather. Not all the air breathers have the same hose clamp. This is an aftermarket hose clamp, but the one that was in here just got broken when I was taking it off originally. So but the aftermarket ones work. They work fine. If you can, try to get a Trident clamp. Don't try it. Use a dollar store clamp because it'll just break and they're not worth the money you put into it. Okay, so here's something that everybody usually has a problem with is the plunger, but it's not very difficult. You slide the top of your carb up the cable, pull it down nice and tight, and we'll get our spring. When you compress the spring, you want to make sure that the cable is on the inside of the spring. A lot of people sometimes let it go through the spring, and that won't work inside the carb. So you'll notice I pinched it with my fingers. The reason I did that is so I can get it to go back into the carburetor. Or into the plunger, I'm sorry. Okay, there. So now you have your plunger, and you have to put it back in your carb. Now, when you're putting this in, my idle screw is on the other side. So this would be the idle adjust right here. So I have to make sure that that goes where the idle screw is. That happens a lot of times. People change their carburetor and they 180 this. So they would actually put this in this way. And what happens then is it gets stuck at the top of the carburetor. So as soon as you start your bike, it's just gonna rev really high. You'll see over here, right here, is the idle adjust. So you wanna line up that little slot right there on the plunger with that screw. So we're gonna go ahead and put our plunger back in. You see how it tried to jump away on me there? But I grabbed it and just thread back on the top. Be careful when you thread back on the top. It's very fine thread. You don't want to cross thread it. All right, there are our carbs in. Throttle works perfect. I'll come up to the handlebars here and I'll try the choke. Yep, choke is working perfectly. And there you go, folks. That's how you install a carburetor in an X22.